The holiday season is coming up. It's a really fun time, but it can also be really stressful if you don't know what to gift your friends and your loved ones. And I know, you're thinking, hey, I could just gift them art supplies. They're artsy, they like art supplies, done. But in reality, I think art supplies are a lot trickier to gift successfully than perhaps other types of gifts. So let me give you a few reasons why art supplies might not be the best gift this year. Number one, what if they already have all this stuff? If they're creative, if they're an artist, they probably already own whatever material that they already like to work with. This does absolutely depend on the individual and their resources and how long they've been working with their medium, etc. Yes. On top of it, art supplies can be so personal. And I mean, it gets ridiculous, right? You can have a favorite type of paper texture. You can like it smooth, you can like it textured. How would you know that as the person that's trying to give them a gift? I also have a more personal reason, but I'm thinking, hey, if I feel this way, maybe other people do. But art supplies can be very intimidating. So if you're gifting someone something that they don't know how to use, or it's a very nice brand, so it's a really beautiful gift, it can actually be really intimidating to try and make like little scratches with it. Like you would be wasting the art supply, at least that's how I feel a lot of the time. So the result would be you give this really nice gift and then it just stays untouched for ages and ages because the person's too afraid to use it. And from a consumerism point of view, that's not great. We want to use the things that we are gifted ideally because that's really the only way to have a more sustainable holiday season and also a more joyful one. Who wants to feel guilty for not using the awesome gift they were given? So for all of these reasons, I have compiled a huge list of gift ideas for the creative or the artist in your life, and none of them are art supplies. So hopefully you will find something good in this list. The first category is art books. Art books can mean a lot of different things. If your artsy friend is really interested in a specific medium, but maybe they're a beginner in it, let's say they want to pick up oil painting, but they only have experience working with acrylics, then you can look into, books on how to use the oil medium. There are a few books on fundamentals that apply across mediums as well, so you can look at James Gurney's work. James Gurney has a few books on color and light. He also has this really fun book on imaginative realism, which is great for people who like to do fantasy illustrations and that kind of thing. There's art books that deep dive into the creation process of Disney movies, for instance. There's art books about the Harry Potter world. You can find art books about a specific artist if they're a big fan of a classic, well-established, well-known sort of painter or photographer, whatever it is. But you can also find art books specifically on current contemporary working artists, and I will speak to that a little bit more in another section. Another great type of book to gift is one of those really chunky coffee table style books, right? They're really nice, they feel really quality. If you have the budget and you can look for something that's around a theme that they're really interested in, that could be a great gift. Honestly, a mine, a gold mine. There are nice chunky coffee table books about pretty much everything. Say your friend is like me and they really love magic or they really love fantasy, you can easily find a ton of fantasy illustration books, history of magic books. If they like D&D, you can find the Dungeons & Dragons art book. It's like this really huge collection. There are tons of options for beautiful art books, and the reason why I'm including these is that they, first of all, they're nice. They're nice to look at, but also they can make for really good sources of inspiration and references. It can be hard to find specific references if you have a pretty niche interest, right? So having one of these collections that's literally pulled together all sorts of images that are harder to find, that can be great for your artsy friend. And finally, in the art books category, we could talk about magazines. Magazines are still a thing. I will say it's a little bit tricky maybe to find the right level for your friend, because if you're not yourself in that creative mindset, I don't know why I'm dancing, but if you're not yourself a creator in the same space as they are, it can be difficult to know what's really advanced versus what's beginner friendly in terms of the level that these magazines sort of cater to. But it can be nice either way. That way that your friend will receive something monthly or every now and then about something they're really interested in, and that's a nice gift that just keeps on giving. I really should have made a cocoa, but I don't have any hot chocolate. The next gift category is learnable. Pretty straightforward, the gift of learning and leveling up your skills. I think workshops or classes are always a good idea. Your friend, as a creator, as an artist, is probably a very inquisitive person because you kind of have to be curious about things when you're creating. You're always asking yourself questions, you're always wondering how something is done. So a workshop where someone is physically present and guiding you is, I think, a really precious gift. If you happen to live near your loved one, then this is even something you can do together and share that experience. Maybe you can enroll in a class that's teaching both of you something that's new to both of you. That way it's like a little bit more fun and something else. In terms of what to gift, you could filter your results by medium or by subject. So medium could be ceramics, it could be painting, it could be sketching, it could be photography, it could be all kinds of things. And then subject could be landscape sketching or portrait photography. Or maybe the class is all about perspective and how to render images in 3 dimensions. Whatever you pick, I think making it a physical place to go is extra special. Everyone's used to looking at something on their computer. It's nice, but you know, the physical option is even cooler in my opinion. That being said, if you prefer to go the digital route, Skillshare is a really good resource. It's very wide, so you know, they can find all kinds of classes on there. There's absolutely everything on Skillshare. So they might have to dig around for the perfect tutorial class, basically. Another digital platform that people like to use a lot is Domestika. Domestika is different from Skillshare because you don't pay a subscription to the whole platform, you pay per class. So you have to select a specific course you want to enroll them in. They're often a little bit more focused than Skillshare. They're less built for newbies, and you can have very specific skills to develop on that platform. The next gift category is their favorite artist. Now, actually bouncing off of the previous point about Domestika classes, a lot of artists that are working today, that are contemporary, that are posting things online, sharing their work, they tend to have Domestika classes on offer. This is probably Domestika approaching them specifically because they have an audience. So, what I recommend you do is you text your friend and you ask them, what are your favorite artists that are working today? Like, who should I follow on Instagram? Who should I follow on YouTube? Whatever. Who's your favorite artist? And then you can see person by person what they have on offer. So you can check out if they have a Domestika class. You can also see if they have a Patreon or a Ko-fi subscription. If you don't know, Patreon, Ko-fi, all that kind of stuff, they are monthly subscriptions that give you access to behind the scenes of this artist's work. So often they'll post sketches, previews of their upcoming works. If they make videos, you can sometimes get early access to them. But you can also get physical rewards for being a patron to this person. So you could get, I think sticker sheets are quite common, things like that. So you could subscribe your friend to a Patreon or similar platform for their favorite artist. That way they get a little bit more from them, and they can even get physical rewards depending on how much money you're willing to pay. Obviously, for their favorite artist, they would probably like to receive some artwork by them. Does this artist have an online store? Do they sell their work on products? Sometimes they'll only offer art prints and posters, that kind of thing, which I mean, that's great. I have bought a print from my favorite artist before, and it's generally one of the most beautiful things I own, and it brings me joy every time I look at it. So obviously art prints, posters, that's great. But artists often sell their work on other things. They might sell notebooks, mugs, t-shirts, washi tape. If you don't know, washi tape is a special type of tape that you put on your paper to ensure that you have really clean lines. Often the tricky part of washi tape is the shitty ones actually tear off your paper when you tear off the washi tape. So if you can buy washi tape made by artists, it's quite likely to be top-notch quality. And finally, in the favorite artist category, I have to talk about art books again, because a lot of contemporary working artists offer art books about their own process, and that's amazing. For instance, Devon L. Kurtz, who's one of my favorite artists, has an art book where they really detail their entire process, how they create a piece from start to finish. It's really great to look through, it's very inspirational, and you can basically treat it like a tutorial. I will leave the links to the editor below because I know that they work with a lot of artists who have a platform online, so it's quite likely that your friend's favorite artist has an art book that they would love to receive. Really quick, before we move on to the next gift category, if we haven't met before, hey, my name is Marianne, I'm an artist, multimedia. I struggle to define myself still, but I make videos about art, the artsy life, and it's a really fun time. So if you would like to stick around and see more, please subscribe and help me get to 200 subscribers. Thanks. The next category is experiences. A small disclaimer, obviously these are limited to your location or your loved one's location, so the offer will be limited to whatever is nearby. The first thing you could offer your friend is a museum membership. Free access to cultural spaces, exhibitions, maybe even special events or talks. It's all great for inspiration. It's always nice to go to a museum, and it's especially nice if you don't have to pay for it. And depending on where they live, it might be so worth it to gift them this kind of museum access pass. The next idea, and this one will be very specific to do they live in a big city or not, immersive art exhibitions. Oh my god. If you haven't tried these before, they are so much fun. So the idea of immersive art is that it brings typically classical art, typically more, the masters, bringing their art into a very immersive space, usually digitally. They'll put things on the walls. Sometimes you can even interact with the art. They have like drawing machines where you can draw something or color something in, and then it appears on the screen and it's like in the style of the artist. Sometimes they have VR experiences included in this, which are inspired by the artist. Basically, it's amazing. The best immersive art experiences I have seen have been in Barcelona, but definitely look into immersive art if that's something near you. Another thing you could gift is a guided art tour in their town. This could be street art, a street art tour, a guided tour specifically, because that's really interesting, really fun, and it's probably something they haven't done. And finally, you could gift a travel destination. Now, this sounds very expensive the way I said it, but you don't have to travel far. You can just say, hey, I'm taking you to this exhibit, it's an hour away or whatever, and we're gonna make a day of it, and we're gonna see this thing together, we're gonna see this museum together. Sometimes you just need an excuse to make the trip. If it's not that far away, but just far enough that you're like, oh, I don't know if I can spare the time, whatever, you can gift that. You can gift the promise, hey, we're gonna see this exhibit together because it will be worth it. For me, currently, there's an exhibit that I'm dying to see about mythical creatures. It's in Louvre-Lens, which is just far enough that it's a bit annoying to go because I don't have a car, so it would be a bit of a trip, but I know I will be happy to have gone. So get your lazy friend doing things, basically. And finally, the last category is miscellaneous, and it's one of my favorites. I'm gonna cycle through these as quickly as I can. This is rapid fire, we're gonna get this done. First, storage. Your artsy friend has a lot of bits and pieces and things that they need to store and they don't know where to put them. Think washi tape, random pens, random pencils, that little tool you use to squeeze out the last bits of paint from the paint tube. Yeah. All this kind of random crap. Storage doesn't have to mean furniture. For instance, sewing boxes can be super useful because it's just a little box. You can put it on a shelf, you can put it on the floor, whatever. But then you open it up and it has all these compartments. You can neatly organize your little bits and pieces. Oh, very nice. Also, what's really great about that is that lots of sewing boxes have been in production for ages and ages, so you can maybe find a cheaper one or a very special looking one vintage in a secondhand store. Next item, a phone tripod, maybe even with a little ring light on it. If your friend likes to share their artwork online, say they like to post on Instagram, or say they don't currently do that, but they would like to start, then you can gift them this. It can be very awkward to try and draw while holding up your phone, and maybe the lighting is a bit shit where they are, so it's just complicated, right? But with a phone tripod, especially the ones that have the little light, you just pop them on the table and that's it, you're done. It's all set, you have the right lighting, you have the right angle, and super easy, you can just post things online. Next idea, Society 6. Yes, Society6 is a print-on-demand website. I would steer clear of Redbubble. I have tried the service before. It is low quality, it's not worth it. Society6, on the other hand, I have bought several items from. It's very nice. They do their print-on-demand real good. For this one, you might want to look at a previous idea, your friend's favorite artist, and see if they have a Society6 store. That would be a really good way to get them something. Next idea, art subscription boxes. All right, I'm cheating here because this means art supplies, but it also means art supplies that you don't pick, that professionals pick. So if you don't know that much about art supplies, then maybe this is your way to gift an art supply selection without having to do the curation yourself. Next idea, art-inspired clothing and accessories. A few years ago, we started seeing this trend where fast fashion brands would print classical works onto bits of clothing, accessories, all that kind of stuff. At this point, the trend is dying down a little bit, which means you can go on Vinted or any other secondhand seller website and probably find a bunch of cool items that people no longer want to wear, but that could be awesome for your artsy friend. Next, I'm going to talk to you about lighting. Lighting. You can go for mood lighting or you can go for useful lamps. If you go for mood lighting, this is a kind of lamp that you put in the background somewhere, maybe behind the TV or in a corner. But useful lighting, oh my goodness, that can be great too. If the person lives in a pretty dark space, or maybe they only have like your average basic lamp, then you might want to look at LED lamps, and specifically ones where you can adjust the strength of, what's the word? The brightness, that's the word. Where you can adjust the brightness of the lamp, maybe you can adjust the temperature of the lamp, maybe you can angle it. I had this one that was really cool, you could angle it depending on what surface you're drawing on. So useful lighting can be great. Last, but certainly not least, because this is maybe my favorite thing on this entire list, museum shop items. If you go to museums, but you don't check out the shops, what are you doing? Museum shops are a goldmine because they're specifically curated to make sense with a museum, right? With the collection that they have. But they also have these really weird, funky items. You can find artsy tote bags, puzzles, you can find little gadgets. It's very interesting to browse museum shops. Do it for fun and do it for your friend, because you're likely to find something funky that they definitely don't have. That's it for all of my recommendations, my best tips, tops, picks, ideas for the creative or artist person in your life. A lot of these are non-material, non-physical, so you might want to give them a nice card to explain the gift. Let me know in the comments what I'm missing. I'm sure that there could be many, many more ideas added to this list. And if you are an art supply lover, then let me know what you think is a really safe art supply to gift someone for the holidays. On that note, I'm gonna love you and leave you. I wish you the best holiday season and festive time, and good luck shopping. And I will see you again very soon. Bye!